Now you are watching the world most historical and the cultural event, Kandy, Esala Perahera, live from the royal city of Kandy.
Senkanda Shailapura Virajamanu Mutun Markat Bandu Dalada Samindu and Avasara Ganni Utum Perahera Karun Mahansi Kada Tejasin Yutu Vedamavi Matatin Levetti Vandami Sadhu Mamalang Jinadanta Datu
නිමාව සන්ටුවන් වන්නේ දිවා පෙරහැර වීථ සංචාරය කිරීමෙන්.
Dalada සමුද පිහිටයි. You are now joining us with the special live broadcast of the Day Perahera, brought to you by the Media Bureau of Sri Dalada Maligawa. What we're seeing now is a group of whip crackers led by Mr. Upali Jayaratna. The Buddhist flag bearers we are seeing now are the inmates from the Pallekele open prison. You can see that despite the heavy rain, these people are showing their devotion to the Perahera casket and also to the temple of the tooth relic.
And now you are seeing the Perahera who is leading on the first elephant in today's pageant with the secretary's scroll in hand. And this elephant we see is Madhu, belonging to the historic Mutiyangana Rajamaha Viharaya, the chief incumbent Venerable Murundeniye Dhammaratana Thero.
Indeed. The Perahera is the person in charge of the Perahera. Without him, there are no other officials coming. And what we see now is the Hevisi troop.
Following, we have the Gajanayaka Nidame, the official responsible for the troop of elephants in today's pageant. And he is with Banda, who belongs to the Honorable Devar Nilame of the Sri Dalada Maligawa, Pradeep Nilanga Dela. And today's Gajanayaka Nilame is Mr. Parida Jayavardhana.
What we're seeing now is one of the most unique pieces of our culture, and this is a troupe of West dancers.
And these West dancers will be welcoming the ceremonial royal tusker who will be carrying the Perahera casket, which was kept officially at the Askiri Gedige Viharaya last night after the conclusion of the Maha Randoli Perahera.
Now we see the Karya Karavana Korale, Sri Dalada Maligawa.
Today, the ceremonial tusker is none other than Singharaja, belonging to the Sri Dalada Maligawa stables, who is accompanied by Miyan Raja and Buruma Raja, also of the Sri Dalada Maligawa stables.
Indeed. This reminds me of the fact that the Esala Perahera, or the procession, is one asking for the favor of the gods to make timely rains. And indeed, we can see a rain.
Which is
right
in
now.
fact a fruitful result, isn't it, Isru?
Exactly, Nilesh. And now we see another group of West dancers followed by the Diyavadana Nilame. In fact, these West dancers are welcoming the Honorable Diyavadana Nilame Pradeep Nilangadala. The Diyavadana Nilame is the chief in charge of the Temple of the Tutrali affairs, and he is followed by the Mutukuda bearers,
which signifies the protection that this king of the Buddhists is having.
And now we see a group of Buddhist flag bearers making their way in the streets of the hill capital,
which marks the beginning of the Perahera of the Sri Natha Dewala, which will follow the Maligawa Perahera in today's day Perahera, which is in fact the final episode of the Kandy Esala Perahera 2020.
and now we see the Havisi troop representing the Natha Dewala procession.
Just like how the Dalada Perahera will be leading from the Gedige Vihara, it is customary that all four Devala Peraheras of the Natha, Vishnu, Kataragama and Pattini will be leaving from the Pullayar Kovil in Kandy, which again symbolizes the unity and correlation between religions and culture in our country.
Buddhist flag bearers are followed by a group of Havisi performers.
And now we see the first elephant of the Natha Dewala Perahera in this day procession, who is Arjuna, belonging to Venerable Dikwelle Tissathero of the historic Vaurukannala Rajamahawihara in Dikwelle.
And now we see another group of Raban dancers. Seems like these performers are very young. Despite their young age, they are performing even amidst this heavy rain, which once again shows their great devotion. And now we see the godly ornaments of God Natha being carried by a trio of majestic elephants.
Draped in royal saffron, and this ceremonial elephant today is Vijitaraja, belonging to the historic Dimbulagala Rajamahawihara in Polonnaruwa. He is accompanied by Kandula, belonging to Mr. Roshan Patirana of Maharagama, alongside with Rani, belonging to Mr. Nalaka Jayasingha of Godagama, which marks the end of the Natha Dewala procession with the arrival of the Basnayaka Nilame representing the Sri Mahanatha Dewala.
It should be noted that the color attributed to God Natha is yellow. Therefore, most of the officials and even the robes of the elephants are yellow in color. Now we see the Basnayaka Nilame surrounded by guards, giving him the due protection. And now we see the beginning, the commencement of the Vishnu Devala procession. These are the area flag bearers, the district flag bearers representing the Vishnu Devalaya. God Vishnu is one of the main gods not only in Buddhism but also in Hinduism. He is the sustainer of life. Therefore, even in the Sri Lankan culture, God Vishnu holds a very special place.
Leading the Vishnu Devala procession, we have the official carrying the flag of the Satara Koralaya, and this is Kandula, belonging to Venerable Murundeniye Dhammaratana Thero, the chief incumbent of the Muthyanga Rajamaha Viharaya, who is followed by the Gajanayaka Nilame, Mr. Rohan Unanbua, who is going on with Tikiri, belonging to Mr. Jagat Vitana of Matugama.
And now we see another very energetic group of Savaran dancers. The Savarang is an instrument used for fanning the nobility and royalty. It is also used in the Dalada procession to give a cooling breeze to the godly ornaments and also to the Perahera casket.
It can be seen how the color of blue is used along in this procession in all types of elements that can be displayed, including the costumes of these dancers, the robes of these elephants.
Indeed, Nilesh. That is because blue is the color attributed to God Vishnu.
And now following these young dancers, we have a young elephant following us, and that is Sanju, belonging to Mr. Jagat Vitana of Matugama. And right behind Sanju, we have another important participant of the Vishnu Devala Perahera, who has been a participant since her youth, Muthu, belonging to Mr. Indika Mudunkut of Manikinna.
On the mount of Muthu, we can see two officials bearing canopies, which once again symbolize the protection given to the Perahera. And now we see a very young group of wooden stick dancers or Lee Kelly dancers.
Following these Lee Kelly dancers, we see Kumari, belonging to Mr. Sarat Jayalat of Ratkarawa in Kurunagala.
Following Kumari, now we see the West dancing troupe representing the Sri Mahavishnu Devala procession. They are welcoming the godly ornaments of God Vishnu.
And in front of the ceremonial tusker today, we see the chief incumbent of the Sri Mahavishnu Devale in Kandy. As a part of the procession, it is practiced that the chief incumbent in all four of the Devalayas will be in front of the ceremonial tusker. And this ceremonial tusker today, as well as all the other days, is none other than the single tusked Rama, belonging to Mr. Tudor Gunasekara of Heyanthudua, who is accompanied by Vasana, belonging to Mrs. Krishanti Alapata of Ratnapura, and Mali, belonging to Mr. Chatura Vikramanayaka of Millava.
And that marks the end of the Vishnu Devala procession and the commencement of Sri Kataragama Devala Perahera. Now we see a group of Buddhist flag bearers representing the Sri Maha Kataragama Devala procession. God Kataragama is one of the most powerful gods found in our literature. It is said that God Kataragama or God Skanda has 6 heads and 12 hands. In Hinduism, we consider God Skanda as the god of war.
Following these flag bearers, which are endemic to the Kataragama Devala Perahera, we see the first elephant of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devala procession in the day Perahera today with the Gajanayaka Nilami, the official responsible for the troop of elephants in this segment of the procession. And he is going on with Manike belonging to Mr. Anura Kempitiya of Kiulpane in Kegol.
What you're seeing now is a group of castanet players. They help the other performers to keep their pace and rhythm of their dancers. Although it is being a very simple instrument, it adds a lot of energy and rhythm to the entire procession. Following the heavy troop, we now see a group of Udaki players representing the Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya.
We see the devotion of all parties in this procession, including the human and the elephants, who have been serving this procession for the past 10 days. And on this 11th day too, amidst this rain, they are doing on their supreme efforts. And following is another participant of the Perahera who has been here in Kandy for the past 11 days. She is Kumari, belonging to Mr. Asanka Vijayasinghe of Balangoda.
This is the Lee Kelly dancing troupe of Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya. One particular thing that we can see in the Perahera today is that the drummers are also using the Dadu Bereya, which was not much common during the Kumbala Perahera procession times.
Following there we have Vishnu belonging to the Mahanayaka Thero of the Sri Lanka Ramanya Nikaya, Venerable Napane Premasiri Thero, who is currently residing at the Shasana Vardhana Pirivena in Meerigama.
God's Kanda's vehicle is believed to be a peacock, and these dancers are representing the vehicle of God Kataragama. Dressed in beautiful, vibrant colors, they indeed represent the peacock.
What a transition it was. Now all this time we had been noticing traditional upcountry dance performances, and now we see a hint of South Indian touch into this day Perahera. This in fact proves that the Kandy Esala Perahera is none other than a celebration of all sorts of culture, religion and unity in our country.
Indeed, Nilesh. Following that, we now see another very young performer making his way in the Kataragama Devala procession. This is the Kavadi dancing performance. And this dancing is unique to Kataragama Devala procession.
Unlike other dance performances which have to be trained and done in orderly manner, this is somewhat of a different dance. More of a dance, it can be called as a puja, or what we call an offering to God Kataragama, who is much interested in people's energy and sweat. And this Kavadi dance performance is one common way which is used to please God's Kanda Kumar with energy.
We can hear the Tamil Nadaswaram from both the leading part of the Kavadi dancing troupe and also by the end of it.
Rain is not a barricade for these performances, isn't it, Isru?
Indeed, Nilesh. And now we are seeing the West dancers welcoming the godly ornaments of God Kataragama. We can also see the chief trustee of Sri Kataragama Devalaya leading the trio of majestic elephants.
Unlike the other Devala processions, Isru, we also see two individuals of the Tamil Nadaswaram troupe, which is endemic to the Kataragama Devala procession, following the Iyer. And also the ceremonial elephant today is Esala, belonging to the Senanayaka Pirivena in Pirisyala, who is accompanied by Aruna, belonging to Venerable Higgoda Saddhananda Thero of the Handala Rajamaha Vihara, and Sankaraja, belonging to the Sankapala Rajamaha Vihara in Abilipitiya. In fact, Esala has been playing this role for the past 5 years as a ceremonial elephant in the day Perahera procession.
Now we see the West dancing troupe welcoming.
And now we see the elder son of the Basnayaka Nilame of the Sri Maha Kataragama Devalaya, who is Ryan Danushka Bandara Varisundara. So in fact, in this day Perahera, we didn't see any of the official Basnayaka Nilames going in the procession, but instead we see representations, whereas here in the Kataragama Devala procession, we see the elder son of the Basnayaka Nilame, Gamanu Varisundara.
The representatives of these Basnayaka Nilames are also clad in the noble costume, and they are guarded by the guards. What we see now is a group of Buddhist flag bearers,
which also marks the beginning of the procession of the Pattini Devalaya.
Pattini Devala procession is the last of the 4 Devala Peraheras. goddess Pattini is believed to be a very virtuous goddess who is taking care of children as well as women.
On the first elephant of the Pattini Devala procession, we see the Gajanayaka Nilame, and this elephant is Bandara, belonging to Mr. Kitsiri Kahatapitiya of Horana. The Gajanayak Nilame of the Pattini Devala procession is responsible for the troop of elephants that is taking part in this segment, more of the last segment of the Kandy Esala Perahera.
The most unique piece in the Pattini Devala procession is that it is the only representation of the females in the entire procession. What we see now is a group of female Savaran or Chamara dancing performance.
Following there, we have another elephant of the Sri Mahapattini Devalaya, who is Manike, belonging to Mrs. Shriyani Gunawardana of Dangovita. Throughout the past 10 days, we have been seeing all these elephants in and around the city of Kandy, and in fact, from tomorrow onwards, it will be quite lonely to all people who had been flocking to the city to see all these majestic elephants.
Indeed, Nilesh. And now we see the group of West dancers welcoming the godly ornaments of goddess Pattini.
Preceded by the chief incumbent of the Sri Mahapattini Devalaya, we now see the ceremonial elephant of the Pattini Devala procession, who is Mangala, belonging to Mr. Udara Galappatti of Giriyulla, who is accompanied by Rani, belonging to Mr. Richard Godakumbura of Balangoda, alongside with Manike, belonging to the former mayor of Kegol, Mr. H.R.S. Nishankar. And that is the final troop of elephants that we will see in today's procession.
Now we see another group of West dancers welcoming.
And here we see another representation for the official Basnayak Nilame of the Sri Mahapattini Devalaya, who is the Basnayak Nilame of a rural shrine in the suburbs of Kandy that is dedicated to goddess Pattini. Right after this Perahera procession marks its end, the official Basnayak Nilame's grace and followed by the Dewala Nilame will be going to meet the president to mark the official conclusion of the Kandy Esala Perahera for the year 2020.
And now we see the gods and the carriers of sun and moon Following that, we see the Randolis of the four Peraharas, Natha, Vishnu, Kataragama, as well as Pattini. These are the palanquins representing the four devalas. With that, we mark the end of the day Perahera. We are grateful for the help and commitment of both state and non-state supporters who work tirelessly to make this event successful. Let there be timely rains that will bring life-giving water to our fields and ensure a bountiful harvest. May
Our country prosper. Dalada Samindu Pihitai.
සේකණ්ඩ ශෛලපුර විරාජමාන වූ මුතුන් මල්කට බඳු දළදා සමිඳු වැඳ අවසර ගන්නේ